before, and we may never, ever play it again. This comes off Kiss Alive 2 on the studio side. It's what's called All American Man.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck happened there, but we're having a lot of issues. Wow, an unexpected error occurred. Hi, welcome to Toxically Masculine Tuesday. Real News Live on Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm your host, Mike Barra, in Las Vegas, Nevada, with actually four guys. There's four of us here. You can only see three of us. Our newest member of the team, Steve Doran, where the fuck are you, Steve? Somewhere in Arkansas.
I'm in northern Arkansas.
Northern Arkansas is having camera problems, but welcome to the show. That was going to be All American Man by Kiss, but it was a pretty terrible video anyway. And guys, I don't think this is a good omen for the show. It sounds like we're going to have some issues. Anyway, I'm your host, Mike Barra, in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am drinking a Jeremiah Red from BJ's Brewhouse. Who doesn't like to drink beer from a brew house named after my favorite thing in the world, a blowjob? BJ's Brewhouse. Anyway, welcome to the show. Steve, why don't we start with you? Why don't you let everybody, the disembodied voice, the godlike disembodied voice of Steve.
Disembodied voice of Steve Doran.
Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you're drinking, besides my best or second best friend in the world? Who are you?
All right. Well, my name is Steve Doran. A lot of you might know me as the Trail Boss. That was my, I did that show for a number of years. It will be coming back out again pretty soon. I'll be starting my own podcast and doing some more episodes of the Trail Boss. I worked as a policeman, retired as a policeman, police chief after 30 years. During that time, I've done a lot of movies, television. That's how I met Mike Barra, we did a television show together.
You did a pilot for a Bermuda Triangle show.
Right. And I literally train people in firearms, defensive tactics, outdoor survival skills around the world.
Now, you skipped over a couple things there because you were also U.S. Army Special Forces. Is that correct?
Marine Corps, MARSOC.
Marine Corps.
Yes. 2nd Anglico. Look it up. It's considered the second toughest special operations unit in the world.
In the world, and you killed lots of people there. And you were also second in command for security at Los Alamos National Laboratory, were you not?
I most certainly was. I was the chief investigator.
There was a CBS News 48 hours show dedicated to your story, was it not?
That's true. There have been books written about me. I just, I love me and I love talking about me, but
Me too.
I've just done so much stuff that things fall through the cracks.
Well, I think the special forces and the Los Alamos things are always worth mentioning, Steve. And next week we
and I am tall and handsome. You forgot that.
Tall and handsome. Yeah, if you look him up, Steve Doran, tall and handsome, and always gets the ladies. And
always.
You will be a welcome addition to this show. And hopefully we'll have you actually on camera next week.
All right. So this is a contest. All right. I want to know, this is a contest for the listeners. The first person to get it, I'll send them something. I don't know what I'll send them. But the first person who can accurately tell us what Mike Barra did to me will win a prize.
When you were giving me a lot of my gun training. Yeah. What did I do?
So I want to know. He's the only person that's ever done it in my entire life.
It does not involve anything that might have occurred in a Turkish prison, just so you know. It's not that. It's
not at all.
It involves, anyway. Yeah. Rick Norman. Rick Norman gets an award. What does he get? I shot him. Shot him in the face.
Shot me in the face. I've been shot, stabbed, thrown off of roofs, survived an avalanche.
Yeah.
Been beaten with like heavy metal objects, and the only person able to take me out was Mike Barra shooting me in the face on the range.
There's pictures of it on my Facebook where I shot Steve in the face. We were shooting at some metal targets, and I guess I completely missed and chipped a rock, and it cut him right in the cheek. It was hilarious.
The rock, he missed the target. It hit a rock. I mean, like one of the weirdest things in the entire world, where
I heard it ding. It deflected off the target and hit a rock. That's what happened.
Whatever. But it hit like the only rock there that shattered and then came back and the rock hit me in the face.
Just like the witness of the first shot of the JFK assassination. Same thing happened to him. The first bullet missed the limo entirely, hit the concrete, and chipped the guy on the cheek. That's right.
There you go.
That's true. So.
We were recreating the JFK shooting, is what.
And we are gonna do a JFK documentary here in the.
But anyway, whoever the winner is, send Mike a private message with your address, and I will send you something.
It's Rick Norman. Yeah, maybe an autographed picture of the very handsome Steve Doran. And again, I'm gonna go out there and web, and I'm gonna look for some pictures of you while the other guys are talking, and so we can show you people what you actually look like. Because it's weird, I can't even get the avatar with Steve's avatar picture box to come up.
I'll send you one.
All right. No. Oh. Yeah, okay, that sounds fine.
I'll just respond to your email.
I watched a film of somebody shooting a 50 caliber recoilless rifle, shot the target 200 yards away, and the ricochet came back and knocked his headphones off. That's how close he came to dying.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right. Also joined tonight by the usual crew. To my immediate right is the man you cannot spend an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours in a car with and not come away infinitely smarter. Dr. Brooks Agnew, somewhere in the Carolinas. Brooks, how you doing tonight, and what are you drinking?
I'm doing pretty good. Hung a lot of drywall today at the carriage house, and I'm drinking coffee from my Liberty or Death coffee cup.
Nice.
And of course, joined also by the fourth now member. Well, you weren't the third member before. We're all equals here. We're all ones. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3. But joined now by the other member of the team, the no less toxically masculine TV's Blake Wally, somewhere east of California. Blake, how are you tonight, and what are you drinking?
Doing well. Great to be here. I am going to be doing something different tonight. I found this at my local liquor store. It's some Elvis whiskey. It's a
Oh,
midnight
wow.
snack, and it's got peanut butter, banana, and bacon flavor. So it's
Wow.
I'm gonna crack it open right now. I'll let you know how it tastes.
That's pretty epic. And now I think we're ready to actually show, assuming this doesn't crash. Show you a picture of what Steve Doran, Trail Boss, actually looks like.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
There's Steve out on the trail, killing shit and eating it and having a good time. There's a good shot of the very handsome, very studly Steve Doran Trail Box.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're there. All right.
Me and Elvis.
Yeah, there you are. We're going to remove you from the stream there, and you're still out there. Okay, guys, let's get into the news of the week. There's a lot of stuff. It's almost like the question is, what do we start with? So I want to start with something that is maybe not what you expected. I'm going to start with Taylor Swift. Let's take a look at Taylor Swift dancing on. Here's the thing. I gotta tell you, I once sat through a Taylor Swift concert, and I'm ashamed to say that, but I did. I once sat through a Taylor Swift concert.
So did
only
you?
Because
are you coming out of the closet right now and telling us?
No, I was trying to get sex from the girl that I took there, and I didn't get it, so that's fine. She's fat, and I look at her gut, and I'm thinking she's either pregnant or she's just getting that little water weight middle-aged punch thing going. She's like 32. Blake, how old is she? 34, 35, 32, getting up there. Do we know how old Taylor Swift is? No. All right. Well, we're going to start the show.
27, I think.
No, she's much older than that. We're going to start the show with a question, and I'm going to play this video over and over again. Taylor Swift, pregnant or not pregnant? We'll start with you, TV's Blake Wally. What do you think?
Let's just go with it. Is it Travis Kelce or is it somebody else's? Why not?
All right. Dr. Brooks Agnew, what do you think? Taylor Swift, pregnant or just pudgy?
I think she's just rode hard and put up wet.
Okay. And Steve Doran, the disembodied voice of Steve Doran, pregnant or pudgy?
Pudgy, and I believe it's because of all of the medications that they take, because it looks like a psychotropic drug belly is what I call it.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Excellent observation. Yeah. So
that's why I got a job as a detective.
That's right.
Because I noticed stuff.
You think she's on antidepressants or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you'd have.
Well, I mean, she's on. I mean, it doesn't have to be any type of psychotropic drug will cause women to get. I call it poochy.
Okay. All right. Well, I see. This is the thing about you is I learn stuff from you all the time. That's why I like to have you around.
That's because I hang out with Brooks, so I know shit.
That's right. You know stuff. All right. Moving on to the next story. DC Drano posted this today about Senator Tim Scott, who is supposedly one of the leading candidates for Donald Trump's vice presidential post. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying that. He says, my number one test for picking Trump's VP is what would they have done on January 6th? Would they defend free and fair elections, or would they backstab 74 million Americans? That's the minimum that we know Trump got. And he probably got more like 85 or 90 million. Would they backstab 74 million Americans and certify the fraud? Tim Scott made it easy on us. Tim Scott is a coward. Senator Tim Scott stands by certifying Joe Biden's 2020 election victory and affirms that turncoat Mike Pence, who is a fucking traitor, did the right thing. All right, I'm going to start this time instead of finishing with you. I'm going to start with Dr. Brooks Agnew. Brooks, what do you think about Tim Scott? What do you think should happen to him? And do you think there's any way he should be Trump's vice presidential pick?
No, I don't think Tim Scott's a good. He might be a good cabinet member, but I do not think that he is VP material.
Okay. Blake, what do you think about Senator Tim Scott? Sorry, I'm screwing up here.
No worries. Tim's he's a nice guy, but yeah, he's definitely doesn't have it. Trump needs to kind of compliment him. He's, Trump obviously very alpha. You can't have another alpha, but he's too beta. So you're going to have to find somebody better. Yeah, he's got better options, so he shouldn't have really been there in the first place. Although, yeah, maybe in a local area, maybe a nice boss, or like Brooks is saying, maybe in a cabinet or something.
He's got J.D. Vance. He's got Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And I might add that the ATF's assassination of the airport manager in Arkansas makes Sanders the number one as far as I'm concerned, because that's a shot over the bow to threaten her to stay out.
So, okay, and Steve Doran, disembodied voice of Steve Doran, excuse me.
That would be a total negative. What Trump needs is somebody that he can count on and that he can rely on to do, to work on his behalf. And this guy just doesn't have it.
No, and Mike Pence was always a deep state plant, and
Mike Pence, what a piece of shit he is.
And
he always has been. I mean, I knew him back when I was doing the Los Alamos thing and I was testifying before Congress and whatnot.
Right.
I knew him back then, and he was a total dweeb.
Yeah. I hear he's gay too. Brooks, what'd you have to say? Yeah, something more.
Well, the thing is, whoever he picks has to be able to carry the MAGA torch for 12 years. This person's going to be in the catbird seat for 4 years. He's going to be handed a lot of big projects, going to be made the czar of this and the czar of that, probably the deportation czar. They've got to be able to carry the MAGA torch for 8 more years beyond that. We cannot do a brand new unknown person in 4 years. It's got to be somebody we can rely on. Steve is exactly right.
So, okay, Brooks, so let's start with you and let's go round table again. Do you think that Trump's vice presidential pick is anybody who's already been mentioned in the public square? Or do you think it's going to be something completely out of left field, like Krill from Zeta Reticuli?
Well, the only person that really hasn't heavily been mentioned is the governor from Virginia. Mm-hmm. He was elected because he was a Trump endorsee, and Youngkin is doing a really good job in a blue city, and he's holding his own. And he won by a big enough margin. I think he could win again. I think Youngkin has the stones to do the job, and he really hasn't been mentioned much.
Okay, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, to be fair, hasn't been mentioned much either.
Yeah, she has.
She would kind of be that asymmetric pick.
She was mentioned on Fox News about 6 months after I talked about Sarah Huckabee Sanders being the primary, at least my primary pick for VP.
But here's the thing. Okay, well, let's go. Let's go finish off with Blake here and Steve. Blake, who do you think might be his pick, and do you think it'll be somebody that's already out there, or do you think it'll be somebody we haven't heard of yet? And if you do, any ideas who it might be?
It could be a surprise, but it's going to be a short list here. I'm going to say, I do like Vivek probably the best, but I'm sure there's a place for him, and maybe he would be better in a different position. So, but I also love Carrie Lake, but I know she's running for Senate. So, but if she feels like she's not going to do that, then I can see her would be a great compliment. I don't know about like somebody like a Kash Patel. I was going to also say Steve Bannon, but of course they're going to lock him up. But he might be a good personality compliment to Trump if they would work together again. That was a tough loss. He needed him in the White House, and that was bad.
Okay, so Steve, do you think his pick is going to be somebody we've already heard of, or will it be somebody completely new? And yes,
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be somebody that it's going to come out of left field.
Okay, yeah, and I tend to agree with you. I think it's going to be somebody that we're really not expecting. Although, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Let's ask another question here. Let's start with you, Steve.
You mean the governor of my state?
The governor of your state. Do you think that she, look, she's a woman. Okay, let's be honest. She's a woman. Do you think she's tough enough to fight the MAGA fight?
No. I don't. Most of she's pure politician. When she was running for office, she wanted to please everybody, right?
Right.
So things that she should have taken a stand on, she didn't. She rode the fence. And, like I said, he has to have somebody like me, who's not that I want to be vice president, but they need somebody who is stubborn, honest, and who will literally, who is not only a loyal vice president, but a loyal friend to him that would never betray him. And all of these people that we have discussed, if push comes to shove and their political career is in jeopardy, they will hang him out to dry in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Pence did, but Pence, of course, didn't do it because of his political career. He did it because he was a deep state plant from the very beginning. Anybody else have any thoughts on whether Sarah Huckabee Sanders is tough enough? And Blake, do you disagree or agree with Brooks' premise that it has to be somebody that can carry us for the next 8 years, carry the MAGA torch?
Yeah, that would be ideal. You got to have some kind of an insurance plan and somebody who can carry that. I don't know enough about Sarah. I don't dislike her, but I don't really trust her either. And lean on.
The thing is, I know her. I know her. She's, like I said, she's a nice lady. There's no, I like her as a human being.
Good politician.
But I'm telling you, she just like 99.99% of them, they do what's good for them, and they do whatever they got to do to get elected. They do whatever they got to do, to like she took funding from different people that she should have stayed away from and had no business taking their money, because now she's beholden to them.
Yep.
Steve brings a suburban female voice. Wow, Steve. Never thought I'd read those words.
That can't be bought, that won't give up, that will do the job that's given to them, and will never betray Trump. Pick me.
Right. Well, that's the problem. It's like, I've been around the block a little bit, and, I would go testify before Congress in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would have congressmen tell me how wonderful I am, congressmen and women, and senators would say, "Oh, we love you. You're the greatest thing that's ever happened to Los Alamos. Thank you so much." And, they're glad having me. And then in the afternoon, they cut a deal with somebody, and I'm Satan incarnate.
Yeah.
Which you are. But,
so, that's the way they operate. I was actually really, believe it or not, I thought when I went in to do, to test, when I did my congressional testimony, I thought, these people are going to wake up. They're going to see what's going on. They're going to make a difference, blah, 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 blah. And a few did, but most of them, they just waited to hear from whoever controls them on which way they were going to vote and what they were going to do.
Yep.
And so even though they may have liked me personally or whatever, or thought that I was doing a good job, if somebody said, "Hey, we need, because again, national lab, any of the national laboratories, the military community, all of those people make their money by getting funding from Congress and by, basically bribing them or giving them kickbacks,
grafting,
to get what they want. So the reality is you can't trust any of them. I say this all the time and people don't like it. The Republicans are just as diabolical as the Democrats.
Right.
If they do what's good. Look at Tom Cotton. He was going to run for president, and he was all Mr. Conservative, and he voted for Build Back Better, so he could get his $250 million or $2.5 million or whatever it was.
All right, moving on.
All right,
I'll throw one more. Devin Nunes.
Devin Nunes.
Devin Nunes would be good too.
It might be a good compliment. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you something completely different. I think Donald Trump is going to declare the new republic of the United States. I think we're going to go back to the Constitution that we had originally, which is called the Constitution for the United States of America, not the Constitution of the United States of America, which is a forgery, corporate forgery, which was introduced in 1871. And there is no 22nd Amendment that says he can only run for 2 terms. And I think Donald Trump's going to be around for more than 2 terms. All right. That's what I think's going to happen.
I think if he does 2 terms, he'll be doing very well because he'll be too old for 3.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We're going to move on to the next subject, which is that Melinda Gates, aka Kevin Kline, was asked this week who she was going to vote for, and here is what she said.
Going to come down in this election. It will come down to the women turning out in the battleground states. Women turned out in the midterm elections and said, this is enough, and we've got to do it again.
Does that mean you will campaign or endorse a particular candidate?
More than likely, yes.
Do you want to share who that candidate might be?
Well, I don't think it would be any surprise. I think, first of all, I think it's really important to say that I have voted in some elections Republican, in some elections Democratic. But in this election, I cannot vote for a man who rolls back women's reproductive rights and says the heinous things that he says about women. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely am not voting for Trump, and I will vote for Biden.
What heinous things does he say about women?
Exactly. What heinous things does he actually say about women, other than he's talking about?
How did he roll back reproductive rights?
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have anything to do with that. All he did was turn it back to the states, which is where it should be in the first place.
Donald Trump did not do that. The Supreme Court did that. All Trump did was appoint a couple of justices who actually read the fucking Constitution, which says anything that's not in this Constitution, the states get to decide. So guess what? That's what the states did. All right. Blake, what do you think of what Kevin Kline had to say about that and women's rights? I don't think women are going to make any kind of difference in this election, because I think in spite of all the propaganda about all this stuff, I don't think all women are in favor of murdering babies. I happen to think that the majority are not.
Well, every woman that I personally know.
See, I asked Blake. I want to hear from Blake first, and then we're going to go with that. All right, Blake, hit it, buddy.
If I remember right, I think Trump had more women CEOs, highly paid people working for him in his various businesses than just about anybody. So I think they would strongly disagree with that. Women seem to thrive under his leadership. So it's not based in reality. I mean, they're good sound bites for the leftists they love Melinda Gates. But that's all they've got now is basically these old globalists and celebrities.
That's
in the real world,
that's the thing, Brooks. I mean, I don't even know if this is the real Melinda Gates. It doesn't look like the same woman that was originally married to Bill Gates, and a lot of people say she's been replaced by a doppelganger. But what do you think? Do you really think that abortion? It's almost 3 years down the road from the decision, the Roe versus Wade decision, and hardly anything has changed. I don't see anybody suffering. I don't see any women not getting abortions. Do you think it's going to make any kind of a difference in this election or not?
Well, I mean, they're trying to make it out to be. I watched Tommy Lahren on.
That was your first mistake. Yeah.
Well, she's big on abortion because she has to be, but I don't think that. I don't think this is anything but a big distraction when they try to bring up abortion rights and Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with it. All he was really trying to do was put good Supreme Court justices in place that would do the right thing. And Roe v. Wade was a bad decision to begin with.
Right.
They tried to make it out to be the law of the land, and it wasn't. There was never a law. Never a law. There was just a court decision. There was never any law. And so this had to go back to the states eventually, and it did. And like you said, I think a lot of babies' lives have been saved because this brings a lot of attention to it. It also highlighted the fact that Planned Parenthood is a gigantic money laundering operation for the Democrat Party. It gets over $600 million a year from taxpayers' money, and then they turn around and give 50 to 60 million back to the DNC, 0 to the RNC. That's a money laundering operation. I don't care which way you slice it, and that's got to end as well.
I agree. Steve, please regale us with the with what you had to say about it.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm totally anti-abortion, so I'm going to tell you right now, I'm biased, and this "my body, my choice" bullshit is exactly that. It's not your body; it's a new life. It's a new body. It's not yours. Fuck yourself. Secondly, Brooks stole all my thunder, and basically, it's just another federal government intrusion. All of that stuff needs to be handled by the state. We got to get rid of these organizations that, that go through or that have so much money that they, which is given to them by the federal government. And again, like you said, Mike, it's just a money laundering situation where they get the money, they give it back to the politicians, and then, of course, the politicians back anything that they say. So I am in total 100% agreement with my buddy Brooks.
Yeah, because the federal government doesn't give any money to the NRA.
Nope.
And yet the NRA contributes to the Republican Party.
Yep.
But the only reason Planned Parenthood exists is because of that $600 million a year from the federal government.
You got it.
And they also make a shit ton of money off selling mutilated baby parts.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that we did neglect to mention. They that is a international multi-billion-dollar business. Baby parts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
by the way, there are 50 million Indian women missing from their society because they kill them before they're born.
Yikes. Okay. And you mean by them, you mean women from India, not American?
Yeah, women from India, right. What they do is an amniocentesis or a ultrasound, determine the baby's sex while it's in the womb, and if it's a female, they abort it.
Yep. It's bad.
Just like China.
Yeah, China's done the same thing, and now they have a shortage, and they're having all kinds of trouble. All right, guys, let's move on to something really, really important. And Blake, I'm going to start with you on this one. New studies have shown that accelerated mammary gland development in intellectually disabled females is an evolutionary survival mechanism. I say the evidence is right there in front of us that is true. What say you, Blake?
Well, I definitely can't argue with that theory, at least in that example. So certainly would hold true there. I'd have to do more, investigate that study a little further.
In other words,
I might be onto something.
Some girls have bigger boobs. Brooks, any scientific
absolutely,
insight to add to this one?
Mammaries have been making men do stupid shit for 100,000 years.
Absolutely. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Steve Doran, any opinions on this brand new Endocrine Society study?
Actually, no. I'm going to remain silent because I love all of them.
Yeah, I love memories too. They're two of my favorite things, 4, 6, or 8, or 10 of them, and especially AOC's luscious memories. Thank you, AOC, for sharing them with the world. Okay, there's a few other things that I want to go through here that are again fairly typical. Where is it, Dr. Stephen Greer? That's not it. By the way, Cherie Curry. How many of you remember Cherie Curry from the lead singer of the Runaways from the 1970s? Anybody remember?
I remember the Runaways, but I don't remember her specifically.
Well, Cherie was the lead singer. She is one of us now. She has woken up. She's figured it out, and she's now on our side. So we love you. We love you, Cherie. Thanks for being on our side. The other thing I was going to hit on was that that's pretty good. My girl went protesting and came back like this. Fuck these the police for beating her up. Those are hickeys, dude. Okay, there is another post in here. Sorry for being so disorganized tonight. Typical Joe Biden thing. Where was the other one I was going to go with. They're in my legs. Oh yeah, Democrats. This is another amusing one. Democrats are going to sue Iran over the right to use the "Death to America" as a 2024 campaign slogan. Guys, I want to move this into the realm of the polls. And there's polls out. They're typically showing Donald Trump ahead by pretty much insurmountable margins everywhere. They're not going to shift. Edmonton 4, Florida 2. Thank you, Paul Martins. It's 3-2 now in the Stanley Cup Final. But the polls, are fake. Most of them. I want to know: do you think that Trump's lead is legitimate? And if it's, how can you believe anything, Brooks? How can we believe anything? I mean, people are saying there's some polls that show Biden ahead. There's some polls that show Biden with 45, 50%, 49%. There's no way this guy is polling any higher than 30, 25 or 30%. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I mean, the poll to really pay attention to is Biden's disapproval rating.
Right.
Because his approval rating's at 37%. No president in the 30s has ever won an election. Now, you can argue with me and say that Trump doesn't have a 58% of the vote, but I would say he has 58 to 60% of the vote right now. They don't want to talk about it because they want to still be relevant and in the game. Now, I watch Brian, who's one of Biden's campaign managers, and he's lying out his ass. He actually came out and said that all these clips, these films that we see of Biden as a catatonic dementia patient are all fabricated. They're all clips. They're all made up. They're all AI. It's not true. You can't fake, 5,000 cell phone cameras filming somebody on stage. All those films are out there on TikTok and Facebook and X. Biden's done, and he's done. I honestly think that Operation Gerald Ford is well underway, and I'm not the only one that's saying it now. People are catching up with me. I believe that Gavin Newsom's going to replace Kamala Harris, and then Joe Biden is going to be ushered to the old folks' home. That is what's going to happen, unless they assassinate him. That'd be another way to get him out of the race and blame it on January 6th insurrectionists.
Yeah. And yes, Rick Norman, it is true. Joan Jett was in the runaways with Cherie Curry, as was Lita Ford, who had a few hits in the 1980s, I believe.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Lita Ford and Joan Jett and Cherie Curry were the core of the runaways.
Oh, I do remember.
Okay. Yeah, let me just show a video real quick of Joe Biden just a couple of days ago at some Democratic fundraiser. And literally he just stands there like a zombie, and Barack Obama has to come over and pick him off the stage. Come on, Joe. Come on. Okay, I don't know if this is an act, but
there's a lot of symbolism to that.
This guy is not fit for office. Blake,
I mean, good Lord, we've got a sitting president that the government itself says they can't prosecute him because he's senile.
Because he's senile. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I can't wait for Trump to use that in an ad. Blake, do you think this amounts to anything? Do you agree with Brooks that he's going to be replaced? Or do you see it as being something that's just going to go on and on all the way through the election? I mean, how can it? He is. You can't believe the polls, but even the polls that you can't believe are saying he's going to get crushed.
No, I think they must know something internally. So I do believe that they probably would replace him. Yeah, they're at the point where they're just gaslighting us that they're AI deep fakes and that it's not really happening. And then we're still showing them the video, and then they get all their influencers trying to say that too. And they're actually like sending out deceptive, edited videos like where he's looks okay, but it's not. So
yeah,
they're
16 different slices for a 2-minute video.
Yeah, so it's unbelievable. Even Piers Morgan was criticizing it. Everybody knows, And so I know there's going to be the first debate coming up in a couple of weeks. I think that might be very critical in deciding what they're going to do going forward. Because if he can't handle that, I don't know how much meth they're going to have to pump into him.
Oh, yeah, he did okay last time, assuming it was Joe Biden, which I don't believe it was. They pumped him up on meth and Adderall, and he did a reasonably good job. They also had these screens above the cameras, and Joe had an implant in his eye. We established that way back on the show that we did previous to this one. And you can set these things to a frequency where teleprompters can be run on the screen, where only the person with the eye, and he had a wire hooked up to his arm, and you could see the whole thing that was running this whole thing, and where you could read it. You could read only the guy with the contact lenses could read the screen. And there's video of Trump keeps looking at this screen and looking. It's like, is he? You can tell Trump's going, is he reading off of that? So they did a reasonably good job of it last time. And unless he shits himself on stage and says, "Oh, excuse me, I believe I've shit my diaper," and has to stumble off, I don't think the debate is anything we can count.
Well, they're going to control the microphone, so there's no because you'd be in jail. There won't be any of those clips.
Yeah,
and I believe that will be done to favor Biden. And the commercial breaks will also be run pro-Biden commercials, so there'll be no Chevrolet commercials. These are going to be pro-Biden commercials. It is going to be, they're saying, the most watched debate in history. I don't think so. I think the majority of the country is going to tune out of this.
Yeah. Steve, what do you think? Do you think that Biden makes it to the debate, or does he get replaced before that? I mean, let's think about it from military terms. You're a military man. Can you, if you have a leader that's that out of touch with reality and that bumbling and stumbling, don't you just shoot him in the head at some point and bring in the next guy?
Well, I don't know if he'll make the debate or not, but if he doesn't make the debate, it'll be, he came down with the flu, or, something went wrong that he can't make it. At this juncture, they're committed to the point where if they take him out, it's just gonna send people even farther over the edge. So they've got to do something to get rid of him, but it has to be sort of a gentle nudge out, if that makes sense.
Okay. If you had to guess, Brooks has already said he thinks Gavin Newsom is going to replace him. If you had to guess, Steve, who do you think the Democrats are going to replace Joe Biden with, assuming they replace him?
I agree with Brooks, Gavin.
Okay. TV's Blake Wally, who do you think they're going to replace Joe Biden with, assuming they replace him?
I think it's unanimous so far. I'm going to absolutely go with Gavin. I don't think they can run Michelle, and I don't really have anybody else that I can think of.
Well, you look at how many trips Gavin Newsom has made to the White House when Joe Biden is not there. He's made a lot of trips, like more than a dozen, and some of them have been lengthy. Plus, he's a member of the Pelosi crime family. Plus, he is the perfect not Trump vote. He's young. He's vivacious. The press will cover all that baggage up. They'll just call it all Russian disinformation, all that stuff about California being bankrupt and blah, 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 blah. It'll all be ridiculous. The press will stand behind him. He'll smile. He'll lie. And the people will get behind him because they don't like Trump.
Well, hopefully, Kimberly Guilfoyle, his ex-wife, will come out and say that Gavin Newsom, when they were married, tried to force her to be in a threesome with Trisha Helfer or something like that. And, just like was done to Jerry Ryan's husband in Illinois that gave us Barack fucking traitor Obama. So, okay, that's interesting. Guys, there is something else happening, which is that there is a new push now. I think it's actually in a law that was passed. I'm not positive. Brooksville. Basically saying that not only are we going to make men register for selective service, but we are now going to make women register for selective service automatically on their 18th birthday. They become part of the gene pool, as it was, for the draft. And I just want to show you what I expect to happen once this becomes law on the Monday after that becomes law. What I expect to see pretty much everywhere around the United States is women cooking and cleaning and doing the dishes and giving their husbands anything they ask for. Any thoughts on this? Gentleman Brooks, you seem anxious. Let's start with you.
Yeah, well, see, Representative Houlihan, she's a Democrat, all right, and she really does want 18-year-old females to register. Right now, it's not in that, but there's an amendment that's pending. But the most important thing to pay attention to here, this thing that passed on Friday, only I think 3 or 4 Republicans voted against it, is the wording. This amendment is so important because fiscal year 2025, there's an amendment to the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. It automatically registers all draft age male U.S. residents, not citizens, residents with the Selective Service System. That means those 40 million illegals, about 30 million of them military-age men, that's who's going to be registered for the draft. Trump is threatening to deport their army. That's why they want to stop him.
All right. Steve Doran, you're next. You're a military man. You've been in a foxhole. Would you ever want to be in a foxhole with a woman that was drafted and probably couldn't lift as much as you could lift?
All right. Well, you know my feeling. Okay, so you know my feeling on that. I mean, the reality is that, you know, in my opinion, I mean, first of all, I love women, and that's the truth.
Yep.
I have nothing but the highest regard for them. But men and women, let's face it, we're different. And so there are jobs that women can do better than men, and there are jobs that men can do that are better than women. And one of those happened to be combat. And I see this all the time. I mean, you know, the feminization of the United States started a long time ago. And when I think back in the 60s, but you know, one of the things is they continually try to make women or lead you to believe that women can compete with a man. Well, they absolutely cannot. They can on certain levels, but they cannot physically. It's just like, you know, they would try to assign me female partners, and I would refuse. I'd say, I don't want, I just work alone. I don't want a female partner. And they'd say, well, you know, you got to get with the program, you know, Neanderthal, and start doing what we're asking you to do. I said, well, then fire me, because I'm not doing it, because I know
sensitivity training, right? Yeah. Anyway.
Right. I mean, I know that this person has no ability to assist me should things go south. So I'm better off by myself as far as I'm concerned. And it's not that again, I have nothing but the utmost respect for women, but we're different. We're built different, and we should.
You would make the same protest if they assigned you a 5'4" 139-pound male partner.
Absolutely.
Right? You would have done the same thing.
Absolutely. Right. But the difference is it's like, you know, when you see these female policemen, right? And if they arrest a male, I don't care how big he is, how small he is, whatever. If they arrest a male, it's because he wants to go. And I've seen it time and time again in my career, where you'll have this woman who's in tip-top physical condition. She trains all the time, whatever, and there'll be some little 5'3", 110-pound drunk, and he will clean her clock.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to go to jail. So it's like, wait a minute. And if you want to see the epitome of the argument, watch Joey Buttafuoco fight with China. Now, China's this, you know, she's in excellent physical condition. She worked out all the time. She trained for 6 months prior to the fight. And Joey Buttafuoco sat at the bar, drank beer, and smoked cigarettes, and he smoked her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, and what was he, like 40 years her senior with a big
Yeah, he
gut?
was older. Brooks.
Well, the truth is, and this shows up in MMA fights all the time. The average flyweight male boxer can actually shatter the cheekbone of a female. Females do not have the bone structure to take a punch. They cannot compete with a male. A male
density and muscle mass.
25 to 30% more muscle mass on a man than a woman.
Well, and then the other huge issue is that, you know, in our country, or at least we used to, you know, whenever we went into any kind of combat, we treated the enemy with respect. We followed the Geneva Convention, that type of thing. All we're doing is supplying sex slaves for the enemy. Because if they're captured, do you think they're going to treat them like regular prisoners of war? Hell no, they're not.
Yeah.
Well, you look at the Ukrainian prisoners, not prisoners of war, but they're casualties. They're coming back to their hometowns in Ukraine, less all their organs. They're removing their organs and selling them on the black market.
Wow. Wow. Okay, a couple more things I want to get to before we get out of here, guys. And Blake, did you have anything you wanted to say on the whole women in combat being drafted thing for World War III or no?
It's a horrible thing. So it's a bad idea. And I mean, there's a few exceptions, but I mean, no, that's just going to weaken the unit. It'd be like taking any sports team and then adding half of them women. You're going to hurt the team, and it's nothing against them. That's just not their role.
Actually, Blake, that's a great analogy. If they're fit enough to serve in the military and fight in a war, then they're fit enough to serve on an NFL team or, join an NFL team and play football against men.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Couple other things I want to slide on through. It was Father's Day. It was Father's Day this last Sunday, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Why am I getting this? Why is it coming in? My telegram's coming in. Happy Father's Day to everybody. What we want to do is we want to look at a few father-daughter and father-son combinations and just say hi and welcome. So let's wish a happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day in hell to Fidel Castro and from his son, Justin Trudeau. Happy Father's Day to you guys. And I'm just going to cycle through these. Happy Father's Day to Webb Hubble, his daughter, Chelsea Clinton. You got to give your dad a lot of credit, Chelsea. He fucked Hillary Clinton. Oh my God. Also, happy Father's Day.
He should be awarded the Medal of Freedom.
He should. Happy Father's Day to in hell to Aleister Crowley, who fathered Barbara Bush, who some people aren't even sure is a woman. Also, happy Father's Day in hell to Adolf Hitler and his daughter Angela Merkel, chairman, whatever, chancellor, high commander Führer of Germany. Happy Father's Day, Adolf. Happy Father's Day to Bill Clinton from his son, Danny Williams. Happy Father's Day. Oh, also, I might say Happy Father's Day to John F. Kennedy, to his son, Bill Clinton, who he sired with a nurse. And also Happy Father's Day to Hugh Hefner in heaven or paradise from your son, Bill Maher. Happy Father's Day to you too, Hef. And happy Father's Day to James Hewitt from your son, Prince Harry. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And also there's a few more. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to Kevin Kline, who is Melinda Gates. I mean, yeah, I think it's the same. I think it's Kevin Kline and drag. I really do. Happy Father's Day, Herman Munster from Rachel Maddow, your daughter. Happy Father's Day to Jabba the Hutt from your son, Gerald Nadler. And happy Father's Day to Morning Joe from your twin brother, Beavis, actually. So, yeah, that's a few things we got there. Guys, those are all doppelgangers. Those are all legit. I think every single one of them is related. Oh, I took Blake out by accident.
No, I froze. My internet went out.
Oh, okay. But you're back. Any thoughts? Any thoughts, Blake? Let's start with you. Any thoughts on this one?
I definitely agree with most of them. I mean, it's absolutely clear that Fidel Castro, and probably Merkel too. I mean, it's amazing how it's just all thrown right in front of us. And we're supposed to believe that stuff. So there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than most people are aware of. And it's the incestuous globalists. So great call on that. So that's a great lineup there.
Yeah, I mean, you would be shocked. I mean, Steve Doran, you will be shocked when we start doing our show. How many of these people are not who you think they are? George Herbert Walker Bush is not a Bush. His name is Scherf. His father was a Nazi. He was brought over from Nazi Germany at the age of 14 and basically stuck into the White House, which is going to be fascinating to eventually come to the truth about. Brooks, any thoughts about our doppelganger collection?
Well, there's no question there's a lot of shenanigans going on. The bloodlines are so important to these people. Not so important to average people, but to these people, to the globalists, bloodlines are paramount. They protect them well, I'm a Scot, so we don't have much respect for the royals. We haven't wanted the royals to survive for centuries, but they still do. And I have to tell you that this recent threat by Vladimir Putin, actually not Vladimir Putin, but Medvedev, to turn the UK into a radioactive beach if they don't stop sending weapons into Ukraine and joining the fight.
Yeah.
Part of me is okay with that.
Yeah, the Scottish part of you is okay with that. Steve, any thoughts on any of those? Because I got a couple. I got one more.
Well, I mean, the reality is that, you know, the same people have control, or the same families have controlled the government for hundreds of years,
right?
And they're not about to let that go.
That's right.
Right, and again, they all these bloodlines trace back through Jesus and King David to the extraterrestrial gods of Egypt, who they think came from another planet, the Aryan gods of Egypt. That's who they all think they come from.
That's right.
Isis, Osiris, Horus, and Set. And yes, the hardest thing is to convince people that I'm not crazy, they're crazy. But that's
they look like they come from fat, ugly women to me.
Yeah. Speaking of fat, ugly women, Chuck Schumer on Father's Day posted this picture of himself supposedly barbecuing, and he's barbecuing raw hamburgers on the grill, and he's got cheese on top of a raw, appears to be frozen hamburger. He's been absolutely ratioed and vilified and taken apart for this. Guys, Chuck Schumer is a complete phony. This just, I think, illustrates how completely phony the Democrats really are. This guy's never barbecued in his fucking life. Doesn't know how to make a cheeseburger. His
servants weren't available that day.
Yeah, and then here's Donald Trump. Hey, guess what? Trump knows how to use a barbecue. That's pretty good, but there's one other thing I want to show you. On top of that, Chuck Schumer is married to a fucking dude. Tell me that's not a dude. Barack Obama's kids are all rented from another family. I mean, are these guys all homosexual extraterrestrial weirdos, or what?
Well, we know they're all sexual deviants.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them are pedophiles.
That's a guy. That's not a woman.
I know, but I'm saying that whatever disgusting, diabolical, horrific sexual thing you can imagine, they're involved in it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brooks?
Well, that's the initiation to get into the club, is to be one of these sexual perverts. And I think that that's what the skull and bones initiation is, and why men won't talk about it, because you got to take it up the stovepipe in order to be initiated into the club, and they film it, and that's how they get you to do their bidding for the rest of your freaking life.
All right, so I'm going to tell a story before we get to Blake. From my time in LA. In my time in LA, I knew a stripper turned porn star named Lexi Tyler.
You, Mike, not you.
Yes, it was me, Lexi Tyler. And she was, that was her stage name. That's not her real name. She's a very sweet person. Absolutely loved her. We hit it off great. I loved her. She invited me. I was at a party once, her birthday party in Hollywood in 2009 with Stormy Daniels. And just like Donald Trump, I didn't fuck her either. I didn't fuck Stormy either. But you're
going to get sued for lying.
Absolutely, really nice person, and really, really great. And the thing is, she didn't turn me on. No matter, and you can look Lexi Tyler up. It's 2 X's, I think, maybe 3. Absolutely beautiful girl. Had a big career going about 2009, and then she met a guy, got married, quit the business, went back to her real name, moved back to Oregon, had a completely normal life after that, and good luck to her. But she was great. But one night, we're sitting around the club and we're drinking. I'm buying her shots, and she's actually bought me shots. She used to buy me dinner. I'm like, wow, I'm going out with a porn star, and she's buying me dinner. Anyway, and I said to her, okay, Lexi, let's just cut to the chase. All right, how much? What would it take for me to sleep with you? And because I just wanted to tell people why I slept with Lexi Tyler, right? And she had a lisp, and she goes, would you let me do you with a strap on? And I said, Lexi, we're never going to have sex. So I can tell you right now, I would never be a member of Skull and Bones, Brooks. I'm just letting you know that's a non-starter for me. TV's Blake Wally, what the hell do you think about these weirdos? I mean, Chuck Schumer not only is a never, ever cooked for himself in his life, isn't he married to a dude? Isn't that a dude?
Yeah, I would say that's a dude. There's something very wrong with Chuck Schumer, his whole persona. And yes, he's trying to present himself as like a every man on the grill. But yeah, it was such a badly botched photo op, and everybody saw through it, and it's shamed, and he had to remove it. I don't know if he's tweeted since. And yeah, he completely deserves it. So he's out of touch. These people are elitist. I completely agree with Brooks that they are, they're compromised. That's how you get into the club, is by you're, blackmailed or what have you. They have the good, right, but you'll be well taken care of. And he's had a hell of a career. But yeah, you're always going to be beholden to these
compromised sexual deviants. Yeah, he's had a hell of a career. If you consider destroying America a hell of a career, and fucking Americans over and ruining our country and ruining our planet, I guess you could say he's had a great career. I don't agree with you on that one. All right, guys, let's get out of here. We're just about done. Anybody have any other stories they want to discuss or predictions? Brooks, you want to talk about the war a little bit? It's escalating, but it's not escalating. What about that Russian sub in Cuba?
I think, the Caribbean tour, vacation that Putin is taking with his nuclear-powered submarine and a destroyer and a frigate equipped with Zircon hypersonic missiles, could be or could not be nuclear power or nuclear tipped. When you look at the communication that's gone back and forth between Biden and Putin over the last 90 days, we should be very concerned, because Biden approves Ukraine to use U.S. missiles to launch them into Russia. So I was thinking, okay, let me do a little bit of research on that. And I got a guy that sent me a video from inside Russia. He's an American, an independent journalist like me, but he's in Russia in full, battle gear, trying to protect himself. And he's standing in front of a village, not a town, not a city, not a nuclear site or military site at all. The village is completely wiped out. Every house, every structure is level with the ground. That's what the Ukrainians have been destroying with our missiles. And it's pissing the Russians off. And they're saying, you do not understand the game you're playing, because we're going to send our fleet down to Cuba, and we're going to do some exercises, missile exercises off the coast of Florida. Any one of these missiles is 6 minutes away from DC. 6 minutes. If they launch cruise missiles, we can't stop them. The difference between Russia and America is America's never, ever been bombed. We have no missile defense systems at all in our country. There are no Patriot missile batteries around New York. Don't exist. Russia has layers of anti-missile systems and detection systems. And every major city, every small city in Russia has a nuclear bunker. How many of you know where your nuclear bunker is from your town? Oh, that's right. You don't have one. This is a very big deal. 99% of everything Russia launches will hit its target. About 12% of what we launch will hit its target in Russia. You don't understand the risks that are being run right now. We are so much worse off today, right now, than we were in 1962 in the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yep. I have to agree with you on that. Blake, any final thoughts or any stories you would like to bring up that haven't been discussed tonight?
Not too much. I mean, we could talk about Jack Black, but I mean, the idea is that Biden just needs celebrity endorsements. That's the only way he can try to persuade the public.
People aren't going to vote
work
based on
anymore.
Celebrities say. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So that's all they got left.
Yeah. Steve, any final thoughts, predictions, or wild ass guesses between now and next week?
As we know, terrorism is on the rise. We've seen the Chinese, the Arabs, different ones do soft target hits to see what they could get away with across the country. You're going to see those increase. You're going to see them getting more violent. And so I've been beating this drum for about 30 years, and people think I'm crazy. But I mean, if you are not preparing yourself, if you don't own a gun, if you don't have supplies put away, you are an absolute moron. It's no longer, it's no longer a conspiracy. It's a fact. All you got to do is open your news feed and do a little bit of research. But especially if you live in a city, you better get ready, because what they're going to do is they're going to start escalating their contacts. And if you're in an area where that happens, you can expect it to be shut down, if not days, for weeks and possibly months. And if you don't have things to take care of yourself, you're in big trouble, because the only thing that is going to occur is the government's going to come in and take you somewhere and stick you in a place that you don't want to be, because that's why they keep dragging this stuff out. That's why the economy is in such a shambles, because people can't do anything extra. They can barely survive, let alone go out and prepare themselves.
All right. On that cheery note, we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you to Steve Doran in Arkansas, TV's Blake Wally somewhere east of California, and the inimitable.
I have a question. How's the whiskey, Blake?
Yeah, how's the whiskey? What do you?
It's actually pretty good. It's about 70 proof, so it's not full, but it's like Southern Comfort. It's actually very sweet. I'm very surprised. Very heavy on the banana flavor. So I don't know if I'd recommend it for a true whiskey connoisseur, but it's kind of a fun little novelty. So
good to get.
It's easy to drink straight. Yeah.
All right. I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, doing a quick news update. I may have a special guest. Jen will not be joining me, but I may have a special alien guest tomorrow, telling us about aliens and secret space programs and lots of cool stuff like that. I'm not positive yet. I'm trying to arrange it with her, but
what'd you do? Did you bring back some woman from North Carolina and you're trying to pawn her off as an alien, or what?
No, she's European. She's so European. So
wow.
We'll see if she can make it on tomorrow. But that's the plan. And if not, I'll just do a quick news update. Join me then. Thanks to Blake, Brooks, and Steve for being here. We're going to try to get the handsome Mr. Dorn on next week, get his video problem solved. I don't know why we couldn't. I don't know why we're having a problem tonight, but lots of things aren't working right. Thanks for being
but
here.
it was a great show as far as I'm concerned, because anytime that Brooks Agnew and Mike Barra are on the same stage at the same time, it rocks.
It's fucking epic. It does rock. And TV's Blake Wally. Don't forget about
By the way, I just want to add, Sunday night, I had Dr. Sandy Miarecki, who's a U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, retired, and she gave us a full breakdown of this Re-Inhabit the Republic that Mike was talking about earlier.
Oh, and
good links, good stuff to get involved in your county or in your state, in your city. Great stuff. It's now in 47 states.
We got to talk about that next week now that we have Steve on the show. Brooks, don't let me forget it. Send me notes. We'll make sure that's the top story next week, unless, of course, something else like World War III is the top story next week. If not, we will see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. I'm also doing Whiskey and Wisdom with Mark Z tomorrow. We will see you then. Brooks, you're on Wednesday. Wednesday night on X Squared Radio. Blake, you're back on Thursday with Brian on the Next Level News, or Agree to Disagree, right?
Yeah, the Agree to Disagree show on the Next Level News.
All right. So we'll see everybody then. Have a great night, and hopefully I can drag a Pleiadian alien Ooh.
All right. Well, I'm going to be on. I usually watch them after you record them, but I'm going to be going live on this one to see the alien.
I'm not letting you anywhere near her, just so you know. All right. Love you guys. Have a great one.
All right. Love you.